30-year-old Leung Chung-hang and 25-year-old Yau Wai-ching caused a controversy after deliberately mangling their oaths during a swearing-in ceremony last October. The two replaced the term Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China with Hong Kong Nation, and they also held up provocative banners and pronounced China as Shina, a pejorative term that the Japanese used when they invaded the country during World War II. Leung and Yao were disqualified by the court in November for failing to properly take the oath. And now our reporter Mao Dan is standing by outside the court of final appeal and is joining us for the latest. Hello there, Mao Dan. What's likely to happen in the court today? What can be expected from the judge?
Hello, Dongning. The pair has just entered the Court of Final Appeal, and we are still hearing from the court. But we are expecting that the court would say no to their application for appeal of the case, because on the one hand, there was the interpretation on Hong Kong Basic Law Article 104 handed down by the Beijing Central Authority in November before the case was opened on their way of taking oath, and the interpretation said any improper way and that not solemn way of taking oath is granted as rejecting to taking their oath, and thus the Legislative Council cannot grant any member with such conduct as a member of the Legislature. So according to that interpretation, which is binding for all courts in Hong Kong, the Court of Final Appeal would, if they take the case, would come to the same conclusion. So there is no need to take their application. And on the other hand, let's look at the function of the Court of Final Appeal. It only grants permission to application of case appeals when the applicant has new grounds, or the case is of great general or public importance, which means the case is heatedly discussed or invoked controversy in the society. But in this case, the court verdict in last November is decisive, and it is it will not change no matter how much trials you have. So the Court of Final Appeal is not expected to grant permission for their appeal. And as for public reaction to the story, we are hearing mixed reaction. There are some people saying that they are sympathetic to these people because if they lose the case, they will have to pay as much as 6 million Hong Kong dollar, that is 800,000 US dollars, to the court and also to the Legislative Council, and that would make them seem poor. But we are also hearing from the Hong Kong residents that the two just abused their the public's trust, and they abused the position that they were supposed to be given. That means they didn't know what is right to do if they could be a Legislative Council member. And also we are hearing from legal experts that the law should be respected and the rules of the Legislative Council should be respected. Actually, the case is under much attention recently because we have several cases regarding young people who allegedly have some political dreams. For example, last month in July, we have the case that where 4 Legislative Council members were disqualified also for their improper ways of taking oath. And last week, the 3 student activists of the Occupy Central movement 3 years ago were sentenced to jail for their conduct of inciting unlegal assembly. So all these cases, especially in those 2 cases, that the student activist Nathan Law, who was also previously a Legislative Council member, were now jailed. All these cases combined, people may feel sympathetic to these young people, but actually if we are talking about law, we are talking about the legal procedure. Some people were questioning that was there political persecution, but Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam just stand out, said that Hong Kong's judicial independence and Hong Kong's rule of law is supremely important, and that is totally respected. So there is no such thing as political persecution, and the rule of law is respected. And in this case, when we are looking at the legal procedures and looking at the binding interpretation on the Hong Kong Basic Law Article 104, the result is highly respected, that the Court of Final Appeal will not accept their appeal.